Did you know that a reading slump can last from up to a week to multiple years? I would not wish that on my worst enemy. That is crazy. So, I'm going to share with you 9 books that I tried to read during my reading slump. Actually, like the first couple of books, I didn't even realize I was in a reading slump. And then once I realized it, I continued to try and read, and really nothing happened until I relaxed. I figured out I was in a reading slump. I came up with a plan to get out of it, and I didn't even have to use my plan. So, my plan was to uh, curate a space, a nice little space, read some of my faves and just kind of relax. And I did it in the opposite direction. I wound up relaxing for a couple of days. And then the book Happy Land came up on my Libby. And I was able to listen to it with no problem. So basically, all I needed to do was relax. I know that there are multiple reasons why you can um, wind up in a reading slump. One of the things is reading multiple books at the same time, which is something I do. Another thing is reading the same genre for a long period of time. I do that as well. Um, there are other reasons, but those are the two that really got me. Reading the same genre for a long time and reading multiple books. So I have taken myself to task and said that I am going to slow down. I am going to try to read one book at a time. And so far it works, but it kind of messes up my routine because reading one book, like, I don't know. I'm not always interested in that one book. Anyways, my name is Raquel. Welcome and welcome back. Let's get into these books. So, there are 9 books, like I said. I'm only going to let you know what the books are. A couple of them, I'm going to, give a little backstory about where they came from or what the book is about, just depending on what the book is. So, the first book is called Finding My Way Out of Darkness. It is by a lady named Brienne Michelle. And this one, I was on TikTok, I was on YouTube scrolling through and I ran across her, saw the book she was promoting. We had a little back and forth. I said, "Yeah, I'm going to read your book." She said, "Let me know, what you thought." I'm like, "Cool." So this was the first book that I was not able to read. And I felt like crap because I told her, "I'm going to let you know how I liked it." And I couldn't even read it. So I really felt like crap. But at that point, I didn't know that I was in a reading slump. I just thought that I wasn't interested in the book. So I'm definitely going to go back and read it. It sounds really interesting. It has special ops and the FBI. It's got X trafficking. So it sounds really interesting. I'm definitely going to go back and read that. It is a series, I believe, of 2 books. Then there was this book called The Wait, which is a short. I know that that is another way you can get out of a reading slump. I don't think that these books are not in a particular order. Um, they are just on here the way I put them, not in the way things were happening during the slump. So I know that one of the things you can do is try reading shorter books. You can listen. If you always listen, then read, just kind of switch it up a bit. So I guess I decided to read a short. The problem is, I do not remember this book at all. The cover doesn't even look familiar. It's called The Wait by PJ Blackson, whom I've never heard of. I don't know how this book got in my library. And so, yeah, I was probably deep in the slump by then because I don't remember it at all. Um, what I do remember is when I looked through it, it looks like a poem, but I don't remember the actual story. And then, oh my God, now this one is a trip because anybody who has watched any of my videos know that there are certain people that I love, 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 like Nicole Jackson, Letitia Rayner, Lady Nisha, just certain authors. And I don't necessarily read the synopsis for some authors like Letitia Rayner. So she has a new book out called Till I Say When, and I didn't read the synopsis and I couldn't get into it, which was really crazy to me. And I think around this time, I started to figure out something was wrong. Did not want to believe I was in a reading slump. Like, this cannot be happening to me, but I could not get into this book. And uh, this one, I mean, it's Natasha Rayner, so I expect it to be good. So now I know there is definitely a problem. Then there was Free Agent by Christina C. Jones, which is part of the Connecticut Kings series. So there are 10 books. I've read 9 of them. And this is Free Agent is book number 10. I just kept going back over the pages over and over and over again. Like, I'd read like 2 or 3 pages and then I couldn't remember what happened. I didn't know who was what. It was ridiculous. I knew 100% I'm in a reading slump and I did not want to believe it. So, of course, I kept trying to read, which does not help. Not if you're going to keep reading what you normally read anyway. So then, let's see, what's the next book? I decided to change genres at some point. And so I went to this book called House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. Now, this is, I think it's called a Southern Gothic. And this one is totally out of my comfort zone. I do not like blood and guts. I am very scary. But I said, maybe. So this one, the synopsis says, wanted, barmaid of exceptional taste. Excuse me, blood maid of exceptional taste. Must have a keen proclivity for life's finer pleasures. Girls of weak will not need apply. A young woman is drawn into the upper echelon of society where blood is power in this dark and enthralling Gothic novel from the author of The Year of the Witching. It says, Marion Shaw has been raised in the slums where want and deprivation are all she knows. Despite longing to leave the city and its misery, she has no real hope of escape until the day she spots a peculiar listing in a newspaper seeking a blood maid. So I don't know exactly, but it kind of sounds vampire-ish. Couldn't get into it. I just couldn't. And I don't think it had anything to do with the blood or the vampire. I was just deep in it and that wasn't working. Then I tried to read Tony Shiloh because that's kind of in my norm, but I haven't read any Christian fiction in a little while. Like, my norm is urban fiction, Christian fiction, and historical fiction. I haven't read any historical fiction for a couple months. So I go, okay, so let's do Tony Shiloh. Nope, didn't work. Didn't work at all. And this is a new book. It's called The Nature of Love. It has a really pretty cover. I liked the cover, but that didn't help at all. And then I told you guys that when I did that video where the 10 shorts you can read in less than an hour, I was going to try some of those authors. So I ran across a book by one of the authors. Her name is Asha Lemme, and she wrote the story called The Fires to Come. And this is a full novel, and it sounds really interesting. So it says, uh, Kyoto, Japan, 1948. Do not question, do not fight, do not resist. Excuse me. Such is 8-year-old Niroki. and her nickname is Nori. Kizema's first lesson: she will not question why her mother abandoned her with only these final words. She will not fight her confinement to the attic of her grandparents' imperial estate. She will not resist the scalding chemical baths she receives daily to lighten her skin. The kid of a married Japanese aristocrat and her African American GI lover, Nori is an outsider from birth. Her grandparents take her in only to conceal her, fearful of a stain on their royal pedigree that they are desperate to uphold in a changing Japan. Obedient to a fault, Nori accepts her solitary life, despite her natural intellect and curiosity. But when chance brings her older half brother Akira to the estate that is his inheritance and destiny, Nori finds him an unlikely ally whom she forms a powerful bond, a bond their formidable grandparents cannot allow, and that will irrevocably change the lives they were always meant to lead. Because now that Nori has glimpsed a world in which perhaps there is a place for her after all, she is ready to fight to be a part of it, a battle that just might cost her everything. Now, that sounds really good to me. It sounds sad, but it sounds really interesting. Like, I want to see what's going to happen. This is out of my wheelhouse. I don't necessarily read books that are not about African Americans, and this one seems like it's going to have like some Japanese kind of going on in it, and it sounds interesting. But yeah, I don't know. That one was really, really not my cup of tea at that time. I am gonna go back and try and read all of these books over again. Maybe not one after another. I'll probably kind of, you know, sprinkle them in here and there. And then there's Night Crawling. This is a book that I saw a couple years back, and or I don't know when it was, but I know it was a while ago. I saw this book, Night Crawling, and I thought, oh, I want to read that. And then I didn't see it anymore, and I didn't remember about it, but I came across it here recently. Could not get into that, which is really strange because this one actually kind of sounds interesting. Um, I would like to know what night crawling means or what it is. And then there's this book called Sweetness in the Skin by Ishi Robinson. And this one, there's this girl, oh, excuse me, this lady on TikTok. She has really, really good recommendations. Like, I got my recommendation for Skin and Bones from her, and I love that book. That book was awesome. There was another book I got from her as a recommendation. I don't remember what it was, but that was a really good book as well. And so when I saw she was doing like a, I guess this little snippet on this book, I said, oh yeah, I want to read it because she has really good recommendations. Didn't work. Yeah, it really didn't work, and I was just so disappointed. I had to get out of my disappointment, get out of my head, stop trying to force myself to read because I can only assume that I really just needed to relax and not feel pressure to have to read. And I think that was my issue. I was feeling pressure, like I have to read. And it's really something that I enjoy, but I can't enjoy it under the stress of feeling like I have to read. And so after about 2 days, I was able to listen to Happy Land by Dolan Perkins Valdez, and I absolutely loved it. I did not have any problems. I did take my time reading it. I wasn't pressuring myself or anything. After I finished that, I read Bent But Not Broken by Mary Monroe, which I absolutely love. So that's super cool when you get two really, really good books back to back. Like, most of the time the books are okay, and then you run into something that's really good. Or at least for me, that's how it works. But to get two really good books back to back, like I think I'm on a roll. I don't I don't even know what. Oh yeah, I do know what the next book is. So next I am going to be reading An Irresistible Love. It is a two-book series by Miss Genevieve Qua, and this is urban fiction, I think, or urban romance, I think. So I'm going to get away from the historical fiction for a quick minute. Not really, because I'm going to actually read God Don't Like Ugly by Mary Monroe. That actually looks good too. I think I read it maybe 10, 15 years ago. So, uh, I hope that if you are in a reading slump, or maybe next time you're in one, some of my tips would be able to help you get out of it. And maybe you could share with me what you do when you're in a reading slump. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, see you soon.